Hey guys, this is Sam Bismuth. I am an activist, computer programmer, and member of CPI. And today, my morning message: forget your plans for after the revolution. Okay? Forget how you believe some kind of revolution will be carried out, what it will result in. All of these things. Maybe even forget how you think it will happen, but keep some theories in your head, right? Try to figure it out. Talk to people about it. But forget your plans for after the revolution, because you don't know what will really happen. Now, if you go and read someone like Kropotkin, the anarcho-communist, kind of the figurehead of anarcho-communism. At first, in the first chapter of The Conquest of Bread, it's my favorite thing I've ever read that he wrote, which is the best of the worst. He talks about how the working class built the world, they deserve the world is ours, and it's beautiful. It's very good. But then he starts to talk about certain things that reveal his viewpoint, the errors of his viewpoint. For example, he says that the first person who ever agreed to work for a wage for a capitalist was a fool. Really, they were a fool. So Kropotkin is assuming that wage workers, could simply have decided not to work for a wage. You can simply decide, okay, well, this is a scam. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to work for a wage, right? So that reveals the error in his thinking, because he thinks that your ideas, your intentions as an individual can simply be put into reality just like that. And that's not how it works. That is not how it works. It is one thing to say, I am going to make a beautiful drawing, right? And you can work at it and you can make a beautiful drawing if you're really dedicated to it. Eventually, maybe not right now, but you put your mind to it, you can do something, right? You have a zone, of action. That zone of action is not the objective economic relations of society, right? That is not your zone of action. You cannot just work and work and work and work and boom, oh, all of a sudden we've overturned the economic relations of society. Wow. No. At least, you may contribute to it, but you can't transfer that into reality. And Kropotkin writes later in The Conquest of Bread, he writes about things like how we're going to have small farms, a bunch of tiny farms. Everyone's going to have a greenhouse. And we're all going to grow our own little farms, and we're all going to exchange crops with each other. And it's the funniest thing. I mean, you see the efficiency of mass agriculture today. And yes, it has evils to it, but that efficiency is very important to us. And the idea that everyone was just going to build greenhouses to just maintain an economy, maintain a whole economy, right? The whole agricultural economy, just a bunch of tiny farmers with greenhouses. It's insanity, right? It's very obviously crazy. Now, we could all maybe benefit from having a little green in our lives and everything. Sure, that's fine, that's great. But Kropotkin is committing the error of planning what the revolution will entail, planning what will happen after the revolution. And he's at best, you could argue, and I'm not against this, making the case that things could be better. Okay, you can make the case that things could be better. You can give examples of ways that things could be organized differently. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But the moment you say, this is how it will be, this is how it must be, come argue with me about whether or not everybody is going to have their own greenhouse. That is the point where you have stepped over the line. That is the point where you are in the realm of fantasy, and people are dueling all over. All over. Everybody is dueling with each other over whose fantasy is what's really going to happen, or whose fantasy is theoretically the best fantasy. Fantasy wars, ideological wars. There can be some value in them, but they very quickly march away from reality. So stop thinking about what you're going to do after the revolution. Stop saying you know what the revolution will entail. Because you don't. You don't. And start thinking about how we can make things work now. Right? Start thinking about what you can do what you can really do in your current sphere of action. What's really possible. Maybe more than you think. When you stop directing that energy towards fantasy, fantasy can motivate you, but when you direct all your energy to this world building of a fictional communist world, direct that energy towards something more practical. And it may seem boring, it may seem difficult, but that's how you win. That is how you win. This has been Sam Bismuth, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.